But episode 10, probably, maybe, I don't know.
Episode 7, Revenge of the... No, that's 6. Episode 6.
Yes, Robbie's here today.
Yeah, so we have Robbie back.
A drunk Robbie at that, because he doesn't have work somewhere else.
God bless the American... I took a personal day, so there's no holiday. Well, tomorrow's a holiday, but not today. Oh.
Tomorrow's not a holiday.
No, tomorrow's not a holiday.
Well, it's my holiday. National holiday.
Alright, get off.
So,
edit that out.
this episode is going to be supersized. We normally limit to 45 minutes to an hour. This is until we are done talking. So, prepare yourselves.
So we might be done by the time Thanksgiving. You're ready to eat Thanksgiving dinner, so.
Yeah.
I'll give on that.
This episode, we are going to pitch our solutions to fix college sports. All aspects. Anything we can think of. Any big problems we see. Some that are probably easier to fix. Some that might not be as easy, but still doable. And the NCAA just doesn't want to do that. So, I think the first one, I had one earlier, but now I forget it. But I think the biggest one is to pay college athletes. And this opinion, I admit, in the past few years, I've turned around on. I used to think they didn't, because I used to think they got enough to compensate. But as years have gotten bigger, the events have gotten bigger, more stuff happens, more exposure, all that. And then I saw how much college was making. Then I realized how unfair.
Like in and of itself, the NCAA is $1 billion organization, and it's crazy that and not only is the NCAA $1 billion organization, but the colleges that these kids attend are also pulling in millions of dollars a year. And a lot of times, if you're in a big sporting program, it's in the SEC football, those are
Power 5 conferences.
Any of the Power 5 conferences, all those stadiums are probably bigger than about 99% of the college the NFL stadiums. They're the biggest stadiums that we have in the nation.
So are you saying Michigan gets more fans than the Chargers? No way.
Consider
definitely more than the Lions.
No, the Chargers can't even fill a 30,000 seat stadium.
They're playing in the soccer stadium this year.
Oh well.
The LA Galaxy sell out their stadiums more than the Chargers do. The Chargers are only 2 games back in the division. Granted, it's a very bad division, but they're only 2 games back in the division.
That division's worse than most people thought.
The AFC is so bad that the Browns still have a chance to make. They're not eliminated from the playoffs.
They're not mathematically eliminated.
47 things have to happen for them to make the playoffs, but there's a chance.
No, wait. Are you talking about every college athlete being paid? Or what is your scope with this?
Okay, so I think my solution, because I know you can't just pay every athlete the same amount, but I think every athlete should start at a baseline. Talking Division 1, not Division 1 AA or stuff. We'll get into that probably. Maybe. Division 1, every athlete gets a set amount, and then from there, they make more based off of how well their program does. If they make it to the college football final, that means they have a college football playoff game and the national championship. Obviously, I think more money is being made, so more could go to those 2 schools. Right? The longer you make it in the basketball tournament, right? If you're out in the round of 32, I don't think you should make the same amount as Final Four / championship teams. No matter what teams they are. If we see another, UConn that wanted at a 7 seed or 15 seed go into, Sweet 16 again, that's just the way it works. I think schools should, and same thing for baseball, same thing for all of the events.
Now listen here, Mike, if you let me call you that too. I'm all for college football players getting a per diem, so not a set salary.
No, it definitely can't be a set salary.
Definitely not hey, you're gonna make a fucking shit ton. Fuck the average American worker. That'd be too much. Definitely a per diem. Definitely I'm talking about
stipend type thing.
Yeah, high triple digits, if not four digits. I'd say 5 digits is way too much. Of course, I can understand where you're coming from the whole you do great, you get a bonus.
I think that's what, because
Also, I draw my whole thing from the NCAA game. The
NCAA
that argument right there. Definitely Division I schools. The Division I championship series schools. I could see making that argument. Do you also feel the same way for the
FCS level?
The FCS.
Well, I think to a certain extent, maybe relative to the Division I. Yeah, like the FCS schools, right? Still, they put in the same amount of time.
Yeah, at all levels. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, I'm not for, definitely, like I said, I'm not for not everybody getting a stipend.
If your game's going to get televised on ESPN where there's going to be a national audience, I think that there should be something. Because it's crazy to see, watching people, watching at a big school, big university with people in the stands and they're wearing, a 15 Ezekiel Elliott jersey or, a 6 Baker Mayfield jersey, something like that. You're wearing the number 6. That's clearly Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma at this time. Is not anybody else. A lot of times they get it customized with Mayfield on the back. So they're paying roughly about $100 for a jersey, and Baker Mayfield is seeing $0 of that.
That's what I'm saying. It should be a kind of like a commission based. If Baker Mayfield's jersey sells more than the backup center, then he makes more.
I think it's only fair that he at least gets some of that money towards him, because it's like the worst thing in the world to see people wearing wearing a jersey of a star athlete and paying all this money for it, and they're like, oh yeah, that's Jalen Hurts' jersey. He's number 2. It says Hurts on the back. That dude paid $100 for that jersey, and Jalen Hurts is not saying a single one of
my
that.
My question is, do NFL athletes get commission for their jerseys?
Yes, they do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. Believe me, I'm 100% for that. Now, Tim, coming from an actual university employee, because technically, let's be real, that's what student athletes are. So you know how the whole, when we were employees for the ambassador, they could do whatever the fuck they wanted with our pictures without permission. You didn't know that?
Is it without permission?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they asked before they took our pictures.
No.
We volunteered for events knowing our pictures could
but
be
you didn't
used.
have to sign anything illegal.
Yeah.
I went through
if I didn't show up at the event, my picture wasn't going to be taken.
I went through a whole conversation with somebody about that.
Yeah.
And they strictly told me, because you're a university employee, we could do whatever. Do you, how do you feel that translate with the athletes?
Well, I think it's
because they go there.
That might fall under, because we're getting into specifics now, guaranteed advertising. It could be part of the quote-unquote contract you sign. I make 5% of jersey sales, but I'm also letting you know, or giving you permission that you can use my picture on the program, and you can use it on the tickets. But as long as I'm making some of it back, because it's hard to compare giving college tours to being
making
on
million dollars for the university.
If tours were shown on ESPN, I would want more money.
Right, exactly. But
I'm definitely speaking from a lower division term.
And it's
basically, take NCAA for example. Dude, I can't tell you how many times I played as Delaware Towson. Fuck it. I play as him. Hell yeah. I got good at it. 80 points a game. Fuck yeah. Quarterback number 5. Who the fuck is that? I'd have to go through 8 layers of Google pages to figure that out. I'm just kidding. Probably 1. But I never tried.
Yeah, all you gotta do is
just
type
to
it
8 pages of Google.
Well, now, if I went back to NCAA 08, I'd probably have to go through at least 8 pages.
Yeah, because they got rid of the the FCS schools at that level.
Yeah. They stopped that certain.
Well, you couldn't do FCS schools in the dynasty mode, but you could do them.
They used to just be FCS Southeast and Southwest and East. Mm-hmm. And you'd always beat them by 100 points.
Definitely lower. When you're not...
Man, I want to play some NCAA now.
Got it. NCAA 08.
I have the most recent one. I have to hook my Xbox back up. But that was a dope game. And we're missing out on that because...
We're missing out on the college playbook.
We're missing out on fucking NCAA 08 right now. We can be playing right now. We're going to you live from NCAA 08.
The playoff series. The mascot games.
Yeah, that was the best part. Playing as actual gators? Yeah. That was awesome.
They'd be jumping sideways and doing flips and stuff.
Doing the running, the option hurdling.
Wasn't there was that the NFL?
Is he really making more cookies right now?
They ain't gonna fucking eat them.
But no, I mean...
Eat them when I'm drunk. But anyway.
Don't burn another hole in my plate.
Alright, Tim, let's be real. This plate's going to the trash. I'll burn 100 holes in this plate. I probably won't because that's a lot of holes.
Swiss cheese of plates.
Tim, I put spaghetti on that plate when you made spaghetti, and all the sauce just slapped over the ground. And I was like, what kind of plate is this? Why did I leave one of these? I'm just eating right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I think it's hard. I think the logistics are tough to figure out. However, the main question, should they be paid, should be yes. I don't see a valid argument
as to
because they don't make enough. Their tuition doesn't add up to what they're making. For
the university, like especially with the big schools, and it's like I said, it's gonna be tough to the only thing that I think is really gonna be an issue is just how tough it is to kind of gauge the difference. Not only do you do it for all the athletic programs, do you do it from football to men's basketball all the way down to like women's soccer and women's volleyball and things like that. I
think if the school is given a set amount,
right?
Say it's given. I'm trying to do easy math in my head. Say it's given $100,000 to spend on sports. Hypothetically,
right?
That number could be totally off, and it probably is fairly low. $100,000, right? And you have what's a reasonable amount, like 20 sports.
Sounds about right.
Right. So that leaves what, $5,000 to each program.
Yeah.
Right. You divvy up that $5,000 to every athlete. Right. And then if the football team is better, if women's soccer is winning national championships, they should get more.
Yeah.
Right? Because at certain schools, that's the way it is. Some schools, like Florida, they're a little biased here, but they win in most of their sports. They win track and field, and they win baseball.
They were in softball. They were softball.
Yeah, they dominated, right? So,
when they had a championship, didn't they lose to Oklahoma? I think they lost to Oklahoma.
Who were we talking about?
In the world. In the world.
So I think that's where, it comes into play. I think...
Because the one game went into 17 innings.
I remember that game.
Yeah, that was a long ass game.
I fell asleep and woke up, and it's still
going. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Who was this?
I think that was game 2. I think too.
Yeah, it wasn't even the last game. Yeah.
I think that forced it game 3 because they only played best of 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to.
Yeah, like I said,
I think that's what I think. I think every school should get a set amount, and then from there, their teams get bonuses, and the players get bonuses. I shouldn't say bonuses. I should say
stack bins, I guess.
I don't know how else to phrase it. Bonuses based off merchandise selling, how the team performs,
And like you said, I think like you said, give them a set amount. Like you said, you don't need to have college players making 6 figures. That's not.
Absolutely.
But by no means am I saying that needs to happen in particular. I just think that it needs to be. I just think you need to kind of help get cost of living,
Yeah.
I mean, where you're suspending,
minimum wage.
Where you're just spending.
I definitely think they should make minimum wage around that.
I'm not saying because the amount, especially if you have a big time no matter what sport you are in, but the season continues to go year round. It's
well, what I mean from that is if you work 40 hours a week at minimum wage, you're making a $400 check, something like that. Now, I'm not saying they're getting paid hourly. I'm saying they at least get around what you would earn 40 hours a week at minimum wage. More than that, definitely for top schools. But I'm saying you're basically devoting your life to this sport.
Yeah, because you really have no time to get an actual paying salary, a paying hourly job or anything.
No, they won't let you.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the programs won't let you.
You can't even work on campus.
No.
Yeah, because you don't have time to.
And it's just what do you expect them to do? To the point where where Laramie Tunsil, who was the offensive tackle for Ole Miss, was suspended multiple games because he had one of his coaches paid a light bill for his mom.
Which is bullshit.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the NCAA is just robbing these kids. Honestly, I mean, these kids are making nothing. These are amateur athletes, but they're being televised and they're being merchandised.
Amateur athletes that eventually become, I would say,
a lot of times
at least 40% could become professional athletes.
And a lot of times, it's tough. Because how do you gauge this too? Because say if a kid tears an ACL, is the university paying for that? Because I know the kid's not going to be able. He can't pay for He has no medical bills. He can't pay for the medical medical bills to repair torn ACL, to get flown out to Dr. Andrews down to Alabama to go surgically repair his knee.
Hail Dr. Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, like what? Like no, they had no means to get any of this done. It's not like they have a job. And on top of that, they can't get a job, so they can't acquire money. Like I said, at a certain point, like a full scholarship is dope. But like if you have the academics, a lot of times students can just get a full scholarship to give with anyway. So I'm like, you're not really giving them anything special. Yeah. You're just saying like, oh, you get a full scholarship because you're good at sports, but they also get a full scholarship and they can also have a job just because they're smart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the same time, I do think it's kind of tough too, because I think some of like the way the academics are set up for like college athletes are a little bit different, just because like you see a lot of these kids are like, there's no way that they would have ever gotten into this university had it not been for the athletic ability, you know?
This table is not strong, Robbie.
Make it strong. Stick a syringe in it.
Let's use that table.
Now, here's my only with that.
The alcohol go?
Now, this table. This isn't anything official, but let's be real. This definitely happened. In major college towns, football players specifically. I don't know about basketball players.
Probably basketball.
Definitely under basketball. No, but this doesn't qualify for anybody else. But especially in your big football towns. Now, I'm not saying Towson can get away with this, but definitely Florida State, out west, down south. Midwest. Your football players can basically get away with murder. Yeah. I mean, now I'm not saying 100%, but like, let's be real though. I've heard Florida State players can get away with this kind of stuff. And I was thinking like, specifically, like, everybody came to Jameis Winston's defense when his whole rape allegation came out.
Well, there's a whole documentary, not on him, but about college rape and assault. And
I watched that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like...
It's just like, from what I can tell, it's kind of pushing it. And that, I mean, I've read... Being a criminal justice major, I've definitely read so many books about this. And it happens out, like, Montana, University of Montana.
Everything, yeah, because we want the best.
Who the fuck goes to Montana? But you can get away with rape if you're on their team. Is basically what it's saying.
It's like there are a lot of double standards when it comes to athletes.
Rape's also, it's really tricky because...
Alright, well, let's not get into logistics.
We'll not get into the legal
what is rape and what isn't.
We're not saying anybody's 100% guilty of rape, but presented this thing, yeah. That's a whole nother... That's legal squad cast.
That'll be our next spin-off. Squad legal cast. Legal squad. Squad legal.
Dun dun.
No, but I mean, like I said, it's the way that the NCAA is run is just very tough. Just because there's so many issues with it, and there's so much corruption to the point where the FBI just came in and investigated college basketball coaches because they were trying to pay certain athletes and things like that. I'm like, but at the same time, like coaches are literally gonna do anything to get.
Man, fucking they jumped in on Reggie Bush, my motherfucker Reggie Bush, sitting here making money off of. What do they call it? Memorabilia.
Oh, yeah, memorabilia, yeah.
Oh, that also happened to Leonard Fournette, apparently. Memorabilia.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Leonard Fournette wanted to sell his jersey to raise funds for hurricane victims after a big hurricane hit Louisiana. And the NCAA didn't want to let him because they didn't want to. It's not like he was it's not like he was individually profiting off of selling his jersey. It's just the fact that I think the biggest issue for the NCAA, and this is where they're fucked up, is that they didn't want they were the only ones that wanted to profit off of his likeness, off of his memorabilia. The fact that they saw, oh man, he wants to sell his uniform to help benefit, to help raise money for hurricane relief. They're like, no, that money is for us. Oh, nobody else, 100% but us.
Fuck the NCAA.
They're literally the worst when it comes to stuff like this. Because,
they're probably worse than the NFL.
Oh, I mean, well, the NFL has its own level of corruption and things like that.
Dude, let's be real. Every professional sport has its own level of corruption. I'm not saying major, but there's corruption there.
Oh, well, I mean,
that's politics anyway.
Fuck politics, man. You show me an honest politician, I show you a giant fucking liar and a penis in disguise. Because they're a dick. Every politician's a dick. You just gotta rub away the makeup that shows the hole on the tip of the head.
Politics 101 with Robbie Thompson.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Sam Adams. Dun dun.
You mean when somebody smokes too many cigarettes?
Oh, when somebody bets a house on the pony?
Or like when somebody eats too many chocolate cake.
Anyway.
Enough of the John Mulaney talk.
Yeah, I think the corruption is
trash.
I think it's one more known because it's the society we live in. Everything's open now.
Yeah.
So it's easier to say, hey, like you got before it could kind of be swept under the rug. So I have a theory that it's probably the same as it was. We just know about more of it.
That's exactly.
I have no evidence to back that theory, but
I
mean SMU happened in the 70s,
80s. Yeah.
And I feel like schools are still like trying to push that line. So.
Yeah, I mean that was and they're still trying to do it. You're right, they're still trying to do it. They're trying to do it in their own different kinds of ways and things like that. Like randomly sending Cam Newton $200,000 to go play for Auburn. And honestly, if you're gonna tell me that they paid Cam Newton $200,000 to play at Auburn, don't think it was enough. She got at least $1 million. He brought them from obscurity. He's not on that team. They're a 5-win team because they had nobody else on that team. They had one other person on the team that's in the NFL. That's Nick Fairley, defensive tackle. He single-handedly won Auburn a national championship. Yeah. But it's ugly to do that. Like you're paying for recruitment. It's like you're just kind of bidding for players at this point. So like I think that's what oftentimes they want to avoid, just because I mean it's like, oh yeah, well we have a lot of money over here, so we're gonna put a bid in for this 5-star recruit, and we'll hopefully, since we have the most money, we'll get them, you know. But it's
now, how do you fight the argument of, hey, they're going to school for free?
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
I don't think so.
It's as simple as that. Yeah, it's just simply not enough. Like I said, like they can, like a lot of times students can get a full-time ride just for academic purposes, you know, and so I think
it's still like academic, and you get other scholars. Even if you get a full ride, you get everything paid for.
What was that? So that's what? Okay, so if you get a full ride, of basketball. That's what 1 year of college. You get a full ride in football. You get 3 years of college if you're really good.
If you stay junior year.
Yeah.
Do you have to stay junior?
You have to be there a minimum of 3 years.
Okay,
you have to be 3 years. You have to be 3 years removed from high school.
So let's look this up. Let's get our facts right. Pick any school, big college football school, any single one. Alabama tuition 2017 to the Google. Cost of attendance. In-state, $24,000. Out-of-state, $42,000. Let's go out-of-state, just because I feel like most school, it's going to be a lot of those even, right? So 42, right? Tuition, fees, room and board, $42,000. This sets it up as books, transportation, miscellaneous as well. That adds an extra $6,000. So it's a total of $48,000. Let's round up to $50,000, right? Which I think is probably average.
So that's $200,000 total for over 4 years.
Over 4 years. Yep, that's per year, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that.
I mean, if you
again, the scale of how much Alabama makes off of, like you said, Jalen Hurts jersey, right? Off of
Bo Scarborough, literally anybody, Calvin Ridley, players,
national championship shirts,
right? Hats, like rings and things, like
all that stuff,
hats, T-shirts, jerseys. It's all going to them, every single last bit of it. I know your light's fucked up. It's all going over to there. It's crazy to think about that, because like I said, you'll get $200,000. Okay, fine, you're getting assuming you are there for 4 years. It's $200,000. If you're not, that's $150,000. If you're, first of all, you gotta take into account the individual's memorabilia. If they are a star athlete, if you are Calvin Ridley, if you are a Bo Scarborough or Jalen Hurts or something like that, you got to take that into account. Second of all, you also have to take into account the ticket sales. You got to figure they per home game they average over 100,000 students.
If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer if you don't want. How much were the tickets to Michigan? Because you went to a game in Michigan.
We got way high up.
Yeah, you're up there.
They were $86 a ticket. $86 to see Air Force. It's not like, and again, this is not like it was
to see the triple option.
Yeah, it's not like this was a big time Big Ten game. It's not like they're playing Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, anything like that. This is Air Force, way high up, $86 a ticket. Are they seeing any of that money? Like I said, and again, there was
let's do some more.
On top of that, there was 113
Too much math for me, man.
$113,000. I think we just broke Robbie.
There's 113,287 people.
Let's say every ticket is $86, which it's not.
Yeah, because you figure close to the field, you're
$9.7 million
right.
in ticket sales alone. If every ticket is
$86.
That's absurd.
That's absolutely asinine to me. Like I said,
that's crazy to see the numbers, and I think that's an argument because one of my coworkers, who I won't name, we had an argument last year when I was working with him. He thinks he's set on not paying college athletes. I'm going to show him that number. Be like, just ticket sales alone. They make $9.7 million.
Yeah.
Tell me what, it's probably closer to like $15 million.
Yeah, just because, like I said, that's just $86 a ticket. Yeah. Like I said,
it's probably between $10 and $15 million.
You got to factor in
a game,
concessions, apparel that's bought at the game, stuff, all different things like that. You factor all that in. I think you're looking close to about $20 million per game. Because when I was there, like I said, it was $86 per ticket. It was $10. It was $10 for one hot dog and a cup and a drink put together. Actually, it wasn't too bad. It's not awful.
That's not bad. Yeah, but oh my god, I'm still not over that number of just ticket sales.
Assuming that every single ticket was bought at $86 per ticket.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would like to find the average price.
Yeah, it's like again, like I said, and these are, and like I said,
I'm gonna drop that number every time someone argues with me.
You can't argue against not paying them because, like I said, all those ticket sales, all the memorabilia sales are all going straight to the NCAA. They're going to the university. They're going straight to the NCAA. Where do you think the money goes when frickin' Mercer decides they want to get $600,000 for playing Alabama? That's not going to those players. They're getting their ass kicked.
Get into that too, yeah.
They lost 56 nothing. And where's that $600,000 going? Not to them.
Just happened.
It's going to build a new building at the campus. You know, it's not going to any single one of those Mercer football players. But they're the ones out there risking their body and risking getting CTE.
Yeah, right.
To play Alabama, which they have no business playing whatsoever.
Which, if you guys don't mind, I think I'm going to switch gears slightly because we just spent 31 minutes talking about comparing college athletes, right? I think the way scheduling is set up in the NCAA, especially football, but kind of basketball too, it's unfair. It was on my time up today. It was Alabama played Charleston Southern 2 years ago. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't. It's because in college there's such a disparity between the elite, Alabama, right, Ohio State.
I mean, not even that. There's such a big difference between a Power 5 school and a non-Power 5 school in the FBS alone. You know what I'm saying? Like Alabama in and of itself would destroy Army, Navy, Air Force, all those programs like that. Hawaii, all those schools like that. There's such a big talent disparity between those two, between FBS level schools, that you can only imagine what it's going to be like between FCS. I mean, you might get the occasional North Dakota State, Appalachian State.
I was be serious. I'm not a huge fan of speculation, but North Dakota State in their prime when they won
five
in a row?
I believe it was 5
in a row, or 5 out of 6 or something. Put them against Alabama and see what happens.
They still lose by 50.
You think so?
Easily. Alabama pulls in 4 or 5 star recruits, the best of the best, every single year. Every single year. These kids, the kids from North Dakota State, they're just happy to be playing on the next level. Honestly, a lot of them are. They're just hoping that some of them are just. There's a lot of times some of them are transfer students that are come from a different situation or something like that.
Yeah. But
I would say a couple of them on both sides, defense and offense. Every once in a while, you get an absolute gem of them.
Yeah, I mean,
but true.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, Carson Wentz.
I mean, dude, let's be real. You don't fucking win 6 titles on dudes that are fucking, hey, I'm just fucking happy to be here. No that's Towson. You go 2-14 and you're literally just fucking happy to be there.
Terrence West.
Yeah.
Terrence West.
1.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Not Towson. But
Eastern Illinois, but yeah.
True. Yeah. FCS series.
They lost to Towson in the playoffs.
Don't get me started. Dude, you'll have a shit ton of people that go FCS and then...
But the point is that it's not fair to play Division I schools who are top 5 in the country, top 10 in the country.
Like I said, these kids...
Before rivalry week, you're playing FCS?
Yeah.
Just because you're paying...
They just make it a cupcake week. The number 1 and number 2 team in the nation played, respectively, Alabama and Clemson played Mercer and the Citadel, respectively. Mercer and the... kidding me? Mercer and the Citadel, like they beat them. Like I think Alabama beat them like 56-0, and then Clemson beat them 61 to 3 or something like that. Like, oh boy, they got the 3. Like
that's what I'm saying. So my solution to this is to have basically a spring training equivalent. Have 1 or 2 weeks, right, in late August, mid to late August.
Yeah, like a preseason type thing.
Right, yeah, preseason, right, spring training, whatever you want to call it, exhibition week, whatever. Pay the school the same amount of money, right? If Mercer wants that, however, 600,000 or $1 million, whatever they're paying to pay, they still go there. They treat it like a game, right? But it doesn't count towards the rankings. It doesn't count towards your records or anything like that. That way, the smallest schools still get that money, hopefully to go back to the players from our first issue. But it also doesn't affect the thing. Every school should play a minimum amount in their division / Power 5 schools.
Yeah.
/ conference.
And like you
Big Ten, like Iowa last year, I think they didn't play Michigan or Ohio State or something.
No,
like
they played Michigan last year. It was 2 years ago where they didn't play Michigan or Ohio State.
Yeah, like
and then they didn't play anybody until Like granted, they split up the conference into two sides, every East and the West.
Playoffs playing shit people.
No, they would have made the playoffs had they beaten Michigan State in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah. And then they
maybe that's Iowa.
Yeah, then they got destroyed by Christian McCaffrey. Single-handedly, Christian McCaffrey had that game ended by halftime.
Yeah, and it's a Rose Bowl. It's a huge game.
So Iowa played in the Rose Bowl.
And then next year, Iowa lost to North Dakota State.
Not playing a completely hard schedule.
No, because by my understanding, they can choose their opponents or something. Like, it's not based off of... like the NFL, you play certain divisions. You play 6 division games, and then you play certain divisions every year based off where you rank. I understand how they do it.
Yeah, that's beyond me.
Yeah. Well, like the NFC East plays the AFC West this year, and next year they'll play the AFC North.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they make sure the schedule and every team plays.
So they played the NFC East, played the AFC North last year.
Next year?
Yeah, dude.
No,
fuck
last year.
That, dude. Fuck Iowa. Fuck that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Bullshit. Pussies.
Yeah, I know the Big Ten is a bigger conference. What? It's like 12.
Eat a dick. It's like 10 people.
Like
12 now that you.
They do actually play 9. Like they do play 9 divisional games as well. They play 9 conference games.
There's 3 or 4 other games they're playing. Shouldn't be.
And then they are the only conference to play to have 9 conference games.
Yeah, like I don't know what, and that's kind of a thing too. I think the NCAA is almost so big you can't control all of it. Because Big 12 didn't have a conference championship game the last couple of years.
No, they didn't.
Why the fuck is Maryland in Big 10?
Well, that's
money.
Bullshit.
Money.
Congratulations, Maryland. You don't have a shot at winning another divisional title ever.
But here's the thing: they didn't do it just strictly for football.
Nobody gives a shit about. Everybody gives a shit about football, but nobody gives
not
a
in Maryland
shit about
because Maryland's always been a basketball school first and foremost.
Oh, God, they'll never win that title either.
No, but like they did it for money. Like they got paid $15 million to move over to move over. Something crazy like that, if I'm not mistaken. So they got a good amount of money. And it's not just about people are gonna harp just talking about football. But I mean, if you look at it,
football and basketball, dude. Like I'm telling you, it's a basketball school, but they'll never win that fucking conference.
But here's the thing: you also got to look at other sports. You got to look at women's soccer. You got to look.
Women's soccer could have won.
Women's lacrosse.
Oh, look! All right. First off, soccer and lacrosse in general,
and men's lacrosse. So they
I'm talking about in general. Yeah, I'm talking about men and women's. They won the Big Ten. I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
They have those in the bag. But that's what I'm saying.
And they also started up like the Big Ten conference in lacrosse like not too long ago, because if you look at all the schools within it, I mean, because Maryland moved over to the Big Ten, they now have lacrosse in Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State.
I mean, if they could build that up, I won't argue that. You're right. I'll be for that, building that up. But like as far as
Johns Hopkins was an independent for the longest time, then they moved over to the Big Ten. So Johns Hopkins is in the Big Ten lacrosse as well. So I mean, like I said, it makes sense.
I don't really understand because I don't really
soccer-wise, soccer's been everywhere. So
yeah,
like, my whole thing is Maryland they'll probably win the Big Ten every year. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, I don't get how schools can be...
But nobody gives a shit about soccer.
Yeah, well, like like Villanova for one, they're a national championship contender every year in basketball, but they're an FCS school.
Right.
Like I don't quite.
Although
understand
that's a great
and especially you just look within Baltimore. I mean the only sport that Johns Hopkins is Division I in is lacrosse. Everything else is Division III.
I was just saying that's a gray area for sports though because
there's only Or you go by school.
Yeah, there's only FCS in football. Division I is Division I in basketball. You'll never see Taos in the championship because they eat dicks for a living.
If they win their conference.
Yeah, if they could, but they, like I said, they're too busy munching on dicks. But Division I is Division I. Towson has the potential.
Towson have like one of the longest losing streaks in NCAA history of basketball.
They made on SportsCenter on their first one of the season, and it was in February. It was like January or February.
Could make it.
They lost like 2 years in a row.
Towson could make it to the championship and they would stop munching on dicks for dinner. But they refuse to. The dicks are an essential part of their appetite, apparently. Now, I don't know where the fuck I was going with this.
But I mean, but you look at it like a lot of these schools in certain conferences want schools like Maryland inside the Big Ten conference because it's vital for them. Because like I said, it's vital for when it comes to recruiting athletes. They can say, oh yeah, you're from Maryland. Sure, we're in the Big Ten, but we play in Ohio or Michigan or Iowa or something like that. But here's the thing: you can play home game every year, every other year, something like that, depending on what sport you play back home in your home state of Maryland. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of these Big Ten schools and things like that want a program like Maryland so they can hit more the East Coast base because you also figure they're not only getting the kids from Maryland, they're getting the kids from New Jersey, a lot of kids from Virginia, Delaware area. I mean, Delaware doesn't often have any kind of like.
Well, just being a Big Ten school will recruit for every fucking sport across the map.
Right.
But like, I'm just saying, like me being like, hey, I fucking love Maryland. At the same time, I don't give a shit about them because they just always disappoint me. But because they disappoint me, their football team, their basketball team. Let me rephrase it. Their basketball team can. When the Big Ten win it, they just fucking don't. Basketball is one of those sports where it's just a giant gray area. And like you could either have the best basketball team or the fucking worst. It's like a 6-person effort, not even.
But you also gotta think that, like again, like I said, this is big recruiting wise for other schools, but this is also big recruiting wise for the state of Maryland. Like, you look at when they brought in Diamond Stone a couple years ago, I'm pretty sure Diamond Stone was from, like, Wisconsin or Indiana or something like that. I'm going to Google it real fast.
But my whole thing is, like, let's be real. I think everybody can agree that Maryland doesn't ever have a shot at winning the Big Ten championship in football. That's my whole thing. Like,
well, that's where the
he's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah. All right. So, like I said, so you figure. I mean, he's in Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin in Big Ten country, and Maryland's like, all right, well, that's awesome for us. We really want this recruit. We want him badly. We want him to come play for University of Maryland. We think he'll do well for us. We also think he'll bring a lot of notoriety to the program because he'll be a big time recruit. He'll get drafted high, something like that. He actually didn't end up getting drafted high. I don't think he was drafted in a lottery.
Where was it? Is he on Portland or some bullshit like that?
Round 2 pick 40.
Yeah. See, so he was he was drafted in the second round, in the middle of the second round, which basically means in the NFL terms he was drafted in the 5th round. Because there's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft.
I mean, I'm not counting.
So your pitch to this kid coming from Maryland is like, hey, you're from Wisconsin. We play Wisconsin twice a year. We go to Wisconsin. We're gonna like the Big Ten championship game. The Big Ten championship tournament is in Indiana. You're gonna have your family come from Indiana. It's not too far from Wisconsin. So that's what the big selling point is, and this is why a lot of those big schools want conference realignment because it gives them an ability to touch base, especially gives them a nice upper level tier ground of like when it comes to recruiting and things like that. That's why you saw like the SEC pool to get Texas A&M inside the SEC because they previously didn't really have like a whole lot of kids jumping ship to commit to Texas, to those SEC schools, LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, things like that. But they're like, yeah, we want these kids, so we got to figure out a way to make sure that they want to come visit us and want to come play for us because things like that, you know. Missouri and things like that. So you touch more based towards the Midwest. So it makes sense to really want to push for conference realignment if you're any kind of a big school, because not only is it more money, but you're also going to get more notoriety if you go to a bigger conference. Like I personally believe that going like Maryland going from the ACC to the Big Ten, I feel like that's a little bit of a conference boost. Like I feel like Big Ten is usually good, has a few good teams in basketball every year, a few good teams in football every year, those big marquee programs and things like that, and it just makes a lot of sense, And I think the ACC is really good when it comes to when it comes to sports that aren't as heavily televised, your soccer's, things like that.
With football, they're kind of making a comeback.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, Florida State's having a down year this year because of quarterback injury, but
Miami's the number 2 team.
Yeah, Clemson's number 3.
Yeah.
So, and they were number 2. They just got jumped by Clemson or by Miami.
Yeah.
I mean,
UNC and Duke weren't.
Well, yeah, UNC had played. Yeah,
fairly decent.
Yeah, NC State's ranked this year. I mean, Boston College isn't terrible this year. I mean, you still got the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and Lamar Jackson, who's from the ACC as well. So I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's definitely on the rise, and that's what I like to see. Is like I want to see bigger conferences, so where like we care about all these honestly it's going to be tough to hear this, but I think it would make a lot of sense if they just like make all the Power 5 conferences like super large, and then get programs like those that are usually very successful, like the Boise States and things like that, and move them to move Boise State to the Pac-12. See what happens there. Because I feel like they're not a big school. I'm like, yeah, they're a big school now. I mean, like they get good recruits. I think I only think that if you get them, I mean, because there's obviously not a huge recruiting base in Idaho. So I feel like if you open it up to the Pac-12, you get a lot more of the kids from California, you get the kids from Oregon and things like that. I mean, where some serious talent actually resides, instead of picking the top kids from Idaho, and hopefully you can get the scraps of places from like that Colorado doesn't get and things like that. And then just moving all the other programs, like moving the MAC and like the Sun Belt and things like that. Because I mean, and I think if you move them down to the next level, to the FCS level, I obviously, I mean, a lot of times some of these teams are so bad that I'm pretty sure if you lined up the number one FCS team, which is James Madison, I'm pretty sure that they could beat every single team in the MAC.
I don't doubt it.
Most teams, I mean, just about every single team in the MAC. Yeah. I mean, I just think it makes that more competitive, to first and foremost. I mean, because Clemson played Kent State this year. Clemson beat them like 49-7 or 49-3 or something like that. Like it's like so that's basically the same thing as them playing the Citadel. Basically, is what you're telling me. So I just think it'd be a lot more interesting if you just moved all those like smaller programs down to the next level, just because I feel like it just makes sense. And on top of that, you cut down the amount of bowl games as well too. So you don't have 60 bowl games, So you have
higher now.
It's something like that.
It's ridiculous. It's bowl games, I think, are the biggest, because one, it's small schools playing small schools.
Yeah.
They lowered the requirement. Didn't it used to be 7 wins, and now it's down to 6, just to get.
Sometimes people have some schools have a losing record playing. Yeah. Like some teams are 5-7. Yeah,
so
honestly.
5 wins. All you need is 5 wins to be bowl eligible, and then you play another team that's around there, right? Don't they try to even up the matchups?
Yeah, they do.
So, and the game doesn't count.
No.
And from an inside source, who, if you know who I'm talking about, you'll know who I'm talking about. That it'll make sense later. Someone who works at Temple University, they made the bowl game 2 years ago. 2 years ago or last year, they lost money because they need to transport themselves to Texas or something. Yeah, and it wasn't a big enough bowl for them to make the money to travel there.
Like I said, so you're not.
Why are you doing it?
So the thing is, you're not really making a lot of money. It's just, I mean,
it's a consolation.
It's just like taking this really
consolation game.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and it's like a lot of people don't want to watch them, but like they're there, but like I said, and we've talked about this on early episodes of this podcast, where we've talked about like how like the NCAA is always out for the money, so that's why they're going to continue having this many bowl games, because like at the end of the day, the schools might not be making money, but they themselves are making money. All they had to do was like give away some swag from the sponsors and stuff like that. to like give away backpacks and like headphones and stuff like that. So I mean, and obviously these kids aren't getting any money. They're just wasting their their winter break. And you started to see like a lot of like some of the players as of like last year where they're just like, why would I play in that bowl game? Like if I'm not like if there's a chance for me to get injured in that game and like hurt my draft stock, then why would I go to that? So you saw like Christian McCaffrey do that. Yeah. I believe Leonard Fournette did that, if I'm not mistaken, too. And, people are like, oh, well, that hurt their draft stock and things like that. I mean, well, if you look at it, Leonard Fournette was still drafted. I mean, Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey both still drafted in the top 10. So I don't think it really hurt him too badly. So, and it just made him healthier for the next season. And, like, it makes sense. Like, why would any kind of athlete want to get up for a certain game if it doesn't mean anything? Just, school pride and the fact that this will be the last time that you play in that jersey. You're not getting any money. All you have to do, you're more likely to get hurt than anything else. And like I think that's kind of the deterrent for a lot of people.
Yeah, I just think it's such a bowl games bug me. And I think going with bowl games, and we mentioned it in the first Sports Squad, I mentioned it, I think the college football playoff, it should be 8.
Oh, yeah.
It absolutely, 4 is not big enough to get a fair estimate. Like, because the 5 team could beat the 4 team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And who is it? Wisconsin, I think, is it? The new ones were just...
Yes, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's 5 and
Auburn 6,
right? 6, yeah.
So we have the Iron Bowl, so we're going to see 6 versus 1.
Yeah.
Right? You don't think Wisconsin could compete against Miami or Clemson? Like, it'd be better if they could.
Yeah.
Instead of us just saying. And even if you do the NFL route, and if you want to experiment for a season or 2, do 6, and the top 2 get a bye.
Yeah.
I think that's a little unfair. I think it should just be 8-4-2.
Right.
But if you want to experiment and see what the 5 and 6 teams do against 1 and 2, and if it's competitive enough, then expand to 8. I think 16 would be too much.
Yeah.
Because I don't think 16, like below top 10, I don't think are that good.
Yeah.
You get once in a while, but I don't think consistent enough to make it a playoff.
Right. You don't want it.
The 8 seeded team could beat the 1 team.
Yeah. Like you're looking at Central Florida right now, who's a 15 seed, and they're good, but you don't expect them to go out and beat Bama, you know. Like I think like last year they had it was Western Michigan. Western Michigan played Wisconsin because Western Michigan was undefeated last year. Mm-hmm. They had PJ Fleck, they had Corey Davis, and like legitimate NFL talent on their team. They played Wisconsin kind of close, but you could tell that Wisconsin always had the game in hand. So you have those small conference teams that come in every now and again, like, oh yeah, like we're here, and we haven't had anybody like anyone that you felt could actually compete and win those bowl games since Boise State. Mm-hmm. Since TCU was up there, but TCU's has been in the Big 12 now. So they're like, but I absolutely agree that it would make more sense to put 8 teams in. And I know a lot. The biggest argument has always been like, oh yeah, if you put 8 teams in, then it means you have to extend the season, and then like these kids are gonna have to play longer.
If you get rid of bowl games.
Not only that, but like if you get rid of those cupcake games, where like those start off couple games and things like that, where you're playing the Citadel and like
week up to last week.
Yeah.
And you have this week maybe as a bye, a holiday. I'm probably not though because they won't move it.
Yeah.
A holiday because Thanksgiving equals football. But if Thanksgiving was the first week of playoffs, well, I'm thinking, or just like we said, just make them actual games.
Yeah.
But if the season ended at rivalry, which it normally does, and then the Army-Navy game, which will probably be never touched.
Yeah, they can't touch that.
You have 2 weeks before New Year's, and then you could take a week off during New Year's, or just have it the way it is on New Year's, and then the first week in January.
Yeah.
That's 4 weeks. Like, you go from 8 to 4 to 2, that only takes 3.
Yeah.
You're telling me that from basically the Army-Navy game, because no other schools play, right?
Yeah, like...
Well, it's championship weekend, right? Or is that the weekend after Army-Navy?
No, Army-Navy is like the last regular season game. Like, it's like rivalry week, Heisman,
Army-Navy.
Yeah.
It's the same day.
Yeah.
And then it's championship week. Yeah. So you have championship week. If you make championship week, or if you have Army-Navy that Saturday, I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, we're obviously not super well equipped. Yeah.
But I think it's feasible to not have, because you have all that time off.
Right. Yeah.
And some of these games are fun to watch. Yeah. You get the crazy, like, I think Central Michigan played one when I was in high school. Like, it came down to the wire, and it was, like, calls and stuff. It was either Central or Western Michigan.
It was, I believe it was Central Michigan.
Yeah,
I think that was the game.
This is going back to, like, 2010, though. Because I remember I was still in high school when it happened.
Was that the Bahamas Bowl?
It was a Michigan.
Yeah.
Not Michigan, but a Michigan.
Yeah.
But, like, so you get a few here and there, but not 64 bowl games. it's not worth it. Same thing. I feel the same way about the NIT too. You play this tournament just to win the NIT.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, but the other tournament's happening too.
Yeah, they also have another one too. They also have the CIT, the College Insider Tournament.
Why? Why do you have a bracket of? I hate to be like harsh about it, but it's a bracket of losers.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, like I remember.
But at the same time, like it's also really tough the way that the NCAA basketball does their stuff too, because it's like okay, you could have this team could have dominated the entire season, all season long, like won like the regular season like conference title and everything like that, then gone to the championship, conference tournament and everything like that. I was looking for it, and then losing a championship game, but they don't get the automatic qualifier. The team that win 19-12 gets the automatic qualifier, not the team that win 23-5. You know?
I think there's a way, because I remember when High Point, Big South represent something like that. I think they made it to their conference championship and lost.
Who was this?
High Point. I think they lost to Coastal Carolina.
Home of the Chanticleers.
Yeah, Chanticleers. Do you remember that press conference?
With that coach? That coach, he was like. It's like, I want some dog. Yeah. Not some cats. Like, meow, meow.
But yeah, I think if you win the regular season, you should get a bid. And then that school gets either out of the conference tournament, so they rest those 2 or 3 days, or they play them, and then the second place team just gets in. Right? So that way you have 2 schools from each, because I think that's a little fair way, instead of saying, because especially with the bigger conferences, they're going to have 2 or 3 schools make it.
Right.
But the smaller ones who get the automatic bids, it runs into that problem. If you're in the Big South Conference and you get hot at the end of the season and then win the tournament and you're in over 2 or 3 other schools that have a better record than you, how is that? Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense, you know? Like I said, I don't know specifically what you do or how you go about changing that, but it'll be tough just because, like they said, we'll give it to the person who won the conference tournament. But I often, but it also makes sense a lot of times too with the conference tournament, because for certain schools where the Big Ten, they get a better seeding. Like Michigan last year was supposed to was an on the bubble team, 7-8 win, 7-8 seed or something like that, and then their airplane runs off the runway flying into DC, and then they end up having a Cinderella run to the tournament after having to wear the practice jerseys for the one game and everything like that. Then they actually won the Big Ten championship, and then I think they ended up as a 5 or 6 seed or something like that.
I think with the NCAA tournament too.
Also, it's confusing as hell. I don't know how the seedings go and stuff like that. I really don't know. There's no I know the 4 best teams, the top 8 teams in the nation are 1 and 2 seeds. That's about as all I know. Yeah. But then again, I could also be wrong because Arizona last year was Arizona, Oregon or something like that. That was a high seed.
Oregon was a 2 seed last year.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then Arizona was a lower seed or something like that. Yeah. I think they were a 3 or something. It was 3 seed, but Arizona was ranked higher in the top 25 poll than Oregon was. It's what? Yeah. Because it goes into too much and like RPIs and strength of schedule and yeah. I was this dude's job. This dude has one job at ESPN, just make stuff up about the bracket. What? Yeah. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of the 68 team. It should be 64 or.
Yeah, I don't like that playing game.
I'm not a fan of it
because it messes with my bracket.
It's a wild card. It's a wild card to get into the tournament.
It messes with my bracket. If you're gonna do that, make it all 16 seeds. Don't make an 11 seed where an 11 seed actually has a chance to beat the 6 seed. That's gonna be my next make them all 6. If you're gonna do that, make them all 16 seeds or make it 15 seeds. Because
but also don't do it because it's stupid.
Right.
Why are you playing in to be a 16 seed and you're gonna lose?
You know you're gonna lose. Just get the first. Just get the 1 seed the first round bye. It's not difficult. I mean, I wouldn't say give the 2 seed that because
especially women's college basketball should start at the Elite 8.
Yeah. Honestly. Really you just pencil in UConn for the Final Four, and then we'll see what happens with the rest of the teams. I don't know who the rest in the top 3 is, but just pencil in UConn for one of those 1 seeds.
Yeah, and it's
maybe Baylor or Notre Dame from one of those other ones.
I know it's supposed to be equal, men's and women's sports have to be equal, but sometimes you gotta have the common sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
be like UConn as a 1 seed is beating teams by
Yeah,
close to 100.
Yeah, they're beating a 5 seed.
Points.
They're beating a 5 seed right now. Like they stole something. Like they owe money. Like
the 16 seed has absolutely no chance. And it's just like.
Yeah, like I said, the 16 seed has no chance in men's basketball. Like I said, even the 15 seed has a chance. Like Florida Gulf Coast upset Georgetown a few years ago. Like they made it to the Sweet 16 or something like that. But for me, I hate and this is like just a personal selfish thing of mine. Just like I hate the 11 seed being a playing game because like I said, 11 seeds often upset the 6 seed, and I'm like, oh yeah, Butler's an 11 seed. They play USC this year, and as the USC's a 6 seed. Yeah. Like I don't know who's gonna win. Like I was like Butler could have a bad night and lose the play-in game, and then I don't think the other play-in team is gonna beat the 6 seed. You know, so just give me some I just personally like that, honestly.
I'm gonna borrow some Brimley if you don't mind.
He says on 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night. Got a little break. Anyway.
So speaking of Toledo.
Nobody was speaking about Toledo. That is the first mention of Toledo in the first hour and 3 minutes of this.
I misheard my ears.
Toledo Rockets.
Yep. What conference are they in?
They're in the MAC.
Dude, I'd go Ohio if I could.
MACtion, baby. They're like Northwest Ohio, so like they're closer to Bowling Green.
How far is Kent State away from Cleveland?
About 45 minutes.
It's like from my hometown to Baltimore.
Yeah. Oh, it's not bad at all.
So I think what
decent amount of Brimley in that cup.
I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know. Fuck. Well, I'm in for a rough night.
I think one thing I know Kelvin makes your blood boil is the recruiting transfer rule.
Oh my god, I hate that.
Wait, what is that?
I hate that.
If you transfer, you have to sit out a year, right?
Really? Yeah, unless you're going down a division. Like if you're going from say you're going from Alabama to a place like Alabama State,
like
then
Pittsburgh
you can play
to Delaware.
Yeah, if you go to Pittsburgh to Delaware, then you can play the next season immediately. But if not, you have to sit out a full year. And on top of that, coaches have the right to block where you want to transfer to. Say you're from Alabama, you start off Alabama, you want to transfer to Georgia. Nick Saban could be like, no, I don't want you to transfer to Georgia. You can transfer any place else, but you can't transfer there.
That's stupid that another coach can block where you go.
And on top of that, it's really stupid because a lot of times these players sign on and commit to a coach, and these coaches either get fired or they go ahead and get another job. The coach can still coach. They don't have to sit out a year. They can go ahead and just coach next season. Yeah. But if you had to lose a full year of athletic eligibility to transfer, it's completely asinine to me. Because like I said, a coach can just go ahead and just hey, I don't want to be here anymore. This school's offering me more money. I know you committed to me, but so congratulations for committing. But on top of that, another thing that coaches what can happen is say one coach recruits a certain player and things like that, and he gets fired or he leaves or goes to another school or something like that. That next coach can come in and be like, hey, yeah, I'm dropping your scholarship, by the way. I know we offered you a full scholarship and everything like that, and that's pretty cool and everything like that, but we don't want you. This regime doesn't want you. Yeah. So they're completely out of a job, and it's
well, that's actually happened to me when I was a student worker in the admissions office. I took a phone call of a student who was well beyond the application deadline. They're like, hey, my son had a recruiting scholarship to play lacrosse at UMBC, but then the coach got fired and they got a new coach that said, fuck you. So now we want him in Towson now. And I'm just like, you're talking to the wrong person.
Yeah. Well, I think, as a transfer student, you should get accepted to the school first.
Yes.
If you get accepted as a transfer student, another coach can't be like, no.
Yeah.
That's one, stupid. I don't know why that rule came into place. Right? And two, if you get accepted to school, you should start right away. You shouldn't have to sit out a year.
Yeah, I think,
another year of not being paid, right? And not on the field.
Take a selfie.
Yeah, like I said, that's a full year of lost eligibility. So like you say, you transfer like Will Greer, who's currently the quarterback at West Virginia, was started off at Florida. I'm pretty sure you know that. I know. And he had to sit out a full year. And granted, he also had like a PED allegation against him, which suspended him for a long time as well, for a full year. Just so happens that last time Florida had a moderately successful quarterback, he was on performance enhancing drugs, and then he left the school.
Who was this? Chris Lee?
Chris Lee.
That's a name.
That's my, even though that's the year I started to like Florida. Because I'm going to be honest, I became a Florida fan because it was Florida versus Ohio State, and I didn't want Ohio State to win. Yeah. So I cheered for Florida, and then I kind of just stuck with them. Yeah. One, because I like Tebow, and by the time Tebow left, I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't like them anymore. So I stuck with them, and then I followed them. But I think Chris Leak is the name I drop every time because they're like, oh, you're only a fan of Tebow. I'm like, do you know who Chris Leak is? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, I do. So suck on that.
And they also had like a really good like coaching class back then too. Like they had Charlie Strong there, Dan Mullen, like those legitimate coaches. It's too bad Florida can't find a coach themselves, huh?
Dude, I don't even know who.
I don't know how that
Florida.
I don't know why they fired him mid-season. I think that's
like really back-to-back coaches that they fired mid-season, right?
What?
Did they fire Muschamp mid-season too? Did they wait to the end of the season? I don't know. But then it's funny.
I think that's a stupid. It's not a college rule, but I think it's stupid to give us a coach. We talked about 2 episodes ago. These are really stupid. How coaches shouldn't be fired in the middle of the season. Like coaches should have. You're going to have one bad season. Yeah. And I know standards differ. Like Nick Saban's going to have. If he has 2 losses, then Alabama might burn to the ground. Yeah, if he has 2 losses. But that's just the standard of Alabama. When the standard of Florida isn't. If you have 2 or 3 losses, but remember he won the last 2 division titles. Got blown out by Alabama.
It was also the East.
Still a division title. Seahawks won their division at 7-9 and beat the Saints. Sure. Okay. Sure. Marshawn Lynch. I just don't like the way. That is really like college rule though.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't like it at all. It's just it's because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like I said, like an athlete can just be like, hey, it's not working out here, like playing time is just not where I wanted to be, or something along those lines, and you're like, oh yeah, you can transfer, but there's a chance that any school that you want to go to, I'm gonna say no, and if I do say yeah, you're still gonna have to sit out a full year. But then the coach would be like, so the thing about this is, they're giving me a lot more money to go coach over there, so I'm gonna go ahead and go over there, or I'm gonna coach in the NFL and
Matt Rule, cough.
Yeah. And I'm gonna eat dicks and then eventually run a team into the ground. And then
Matt Rule makes sense. I mean, like I said, could make it through the end of the season, Unless you're Lane Kiffin, you get run out of town by.
I'm not a fan of the way Matt Rule handled it because I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time he was
Who's Matt Rule?
Well, I mean, they all say that. I mean, every single coach because it's the right thing to say. Like, oh no, I'm here, guys. I'm like the coach can be like, hey, yeah, no, y'all, I'm gone. Like you see that bigger job, the high paying job with more money. Yeah, I'm gonna run to that. But y'all be good over here. All right. Over here in Memphis, I know. No. Tom Herman over Houston's like, oh yeah, no, we got this. It was dope. And then but I was a grad assistant at Texas. I'm gonna go over here to Texas and then have a 5-1 season and maybe make a bowl game.
Matt Rule, for those of you who don't know, Robbie, he was the Temple head coach. Got him to the bowl game. Got him ranked middle of the pack, right?
Yeah,
15, 16, between 15 and 20,
right?
And it's Temple football who played. Right? So got him ranked.
Is there anybody in the NFL? Muhammad Wilkerson.
Recruits one of them. And he was asked near the end of the season, last season, not this past season, 2 seasons ago. And he was asked, and he said he's going to stick through because he wants to grow the program and bring it up to contending level. And then Baylor offered him $5 million a year. Yeah. I think it's over 4 years. To come, and he took it right away. And he was like, all right, guys, I'm out. And now the players he recruited, who are freshmen and sophomores, aren't playing for the coach that recruited them.
Yes, that's nice.
I'm sorry, I heard the first word you said and the last word you said.
Baylor also has 1 win. And also, on top of that, it's funny to watch how coaches are get bad, but the joke's still in university because I have a buyout clause. Like Jim Moore just got fired on his birthday from UCLA, and they're like, oh yeah, I have a buyout clause. Give me $12 million to not coach this team anymore, or or
mortgage.
What the hell's a bio clause?
Buyout.
Oh, buyout. Fuck.
Yeah, so they're getting
Dude.
millions of dollars to be like, hey, yeah, we don't want you here anymore. So we're just gonna let you leave. Granted, they still probably would have made that money regardless. Kind of how long the season, how many. Yeah, but it's cool pay to have Nick Saban own the entire state of Alabama.
I heard on ESPN the other day. I think it was ESPN. It was something I was watching the other day. Nick Saban could commit murder in front of the courthouse and be fought like people would fight for his innocence.
As long as they make the national championship game, it doesn't matter.
Florida and football in the South is absurd.
Oh yeah, you killed somebody. Well, he probably had it coming. Honestly, he probably deserved it.
Yeah. Oh. Well.
But like I said, it's just
actually
and it's wild to think that the players are getting something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, that free tuition and like some Nike apparel, dope. They're getting sweatpants.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you're getting free tuition and sweatpants, cool, awesome. You're really killing it over there. I know you just made millions of dollars for university, but yeah, we'll give you some extra sweatpants if you need them, I guess, and some cleats that you probably can't keep or sell, and a uniform that you definitely can't sell outside of this university. And keep sleeping in your twin bed in a dorm room, even though you're a 7'3" basketball player.
Yeah. Well, I know some schools, like High Point, they had apartments. They had on-campus apartments.
Oh, okay.
I can't speak for the school. That's the only school I know. And Towson, they got the suite, the apartment style residence halls. I was actually I was on Reddit the other day. Oh, I'm on Reddit every day.
Is that different from any other day that you were on Reddit?
And one of the questions was like, it was an Ask Reddit, and it said like, non-Americans of Reddit, what do you just not get about America? And somebody said, I think they're from Europe, and they were like, why college sports are taken so seriously. And they were like, here, you play, and you might get a scholarship, and it's fun. But
because
like,
it's fucking America.
Well, that's what somebody responded.
It's true.
Like,
it's literally something that's only America.
Yeah, and football is an American sport.
Yeah,
so
it's just like one of those things where it's like
the focus over in Europe/England is more on academics.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you really can't think of it unless you're fucking American.
Yeah.
Don't take it as a grain of salt if you're from another country. It's something I can't fucking explain to somebody from like Romania why the fuck I fucking sit there and watch college sports. Fucking do it. Why not, right?
It's on. It's what I've known, Like I can't not watch it,
I know.
Like I can't and not only that, you have like your pickets and things like that, and like March Madness, like make your own bracket for March Madness, and like you could win $50,000.
Yeah. You get a perfect bracket.
I know your fucking lines.
Yeah, it was funny. Like the biggest thing, like one of the biggest stories early on in college football season was Maryland was giving away it was like $50,000 to a student, to like one lucky student if Maryland returned a punt return, a kick return back for a touchdown. It's like if I was a player and I knew about that shit, I'm taking a knee every single time. It doesn't matter. You could run the kicker around the field and nobody else, and I just have 10 blockers in front of me. It's like, I'll be goddamned if you gonna run if you gonna make $50,000 off of me running back and kick for a touchdown. I'm not making nothing, So it's like, hell with that.
Well, if they're giving $50,000 to a student, at the same time, there's a humanitarian aspect that comes into play.
The student can have a job though. That's my difference. It's like the student can have a job and like actually collect money.
Be a 4th or 5th year music major playing gigs, making $100 a night, and the college football punt.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's something that comes into play that are unspoken. Like, dude, I wasn't fucking guaranteed this job at the admissions office, but I busted my ass there when I was a student employee and got hired. It wasn't guaranteed, but I did it. Some people will like something like that. Like, there's a humanitarian aspect. Like, you do some certain things in college football, and it would pay off in the long run.
Well, when 1% of college athletes make the NFL,
I'm not saying going to the next level.
I'm not making any money off my school.
And like this
kid,
running
out of bounds every time.
Yeah, I'm taking a knee. Like, I'm fair catching it. It doesn't matter. I'm begging that they kick an onside kick just for the hell of it.
Any other things?
No.
We're at an hour 20. I said it would be supersized. So, if I were to appear at your place of work tomorrow night, could I get extra cinnamon butter for the pretzels?